What's going on, everybody? It is Monday. I hope you're having a great day so far. It's been kind of a weird one to come back from a busy weekend and just still at home, which is fine. I'm getting used to it. But it's definitely hard, right? To stay motivated, to stay pumped, to know that you're not going to go anywhere, that you're just going to have Zoom meetings all day. It's life. So we move on. So today's topic, though, I want to get right to it because I know your time is valuable and I want to make sure that we get the most possible to you in the shortest amount of time. So again, the whole point of 401 Jake is not to, I don't know, it's not to teach you everything. We're going to try and chop it up into bite-sized pieces so that you can over time progress as a 401k advisor. There's a lot of different topics we have to cover in the 401k industry. Whether you're a specialist, which I talked a lot about, why you should specialize and why you shouldn't, and how you should kind of navigate those different decisions as far as your practice goes, and if you're going to be all in on 401ks and how to best do that. But one of the key things that is really critical to your value and what you bring to your clients is due diligence. And it's funny, that's a term I think that gets thrown around a lot, and sometimes it's understood differently. It just depends on where you were kind of raised and what you've done in college and those kind of things. But due diligence was a new term for me. And it's something that is really critical because there is a ton of noise in the industry. There are so many different providers. There are thousands of record keepers when you really factor in all the different small TPAs or third-party administrators that are doing 401k plan record keeping as well as administration, offering a bundle platform, usually on Relias. There's a lot of info there for you. But here's the key, though. You have to be able to know which ones are the best for your niche. So again, part of my 12-step program is the first thing is understanding who you're targeting. Who's your niche? What is your perfect client? The one that you love working with, the one that you can bring the most value to, that you spend the most time with, that you're excited when you wake up in the morning to go and help. Ton of different niches. And when you pick one, you realize that's even pretty broad once you get into it. My personal niche for my practice is medical. That's huge. It's huge. There's a lot of different verticals or whatever you want to say of different parts of medical that we can dive into because you've got different specialties. You've got just so many varieties. But once you figured out the niche, what you need to do is figure out which service providers are going to be the most effective and useful and the most valuable for you to introduce. Now, the industry itself will do a really good job at selling to you. And here's number one, the very first goal. I'm going to talk about 3 traps don't to fall into as you do due diligence. Okay, the industry loves to target you as an advisor because think about it. You're the end person finding the user, finding the actual participant or not participant, plan sponsors that are buying their product. Again, quick review, 4 people getting paid. You as the advisor, you're the quarterback. Number 2, record keeping, pretty important. Administration, those kind of go hand in hand. They have to be included in your investments. That's how I lump them together. Some people do it different fees, but those are the 4 parties that a 401k should have to be the most effective. So as you as the advisor, let's talk about record keeping first and foremost. They're going to spend lots of money, not the most money out of all the 3 parties, but they're going to spend some money to make sure they have your attention. And they're going to try and pull you in through different avenues. And it's interesting as I talk to different wholesalers, how they find different advisors. I don't think there's a really great wholesaler training course out there. And so that's one of the things that I'm really pumped about bringing. I've been kind of bouncing that idea around a few wholesalers and see what the path was that they took to get to wholesaling. And a little background there too. I was a wholesaler myself, not in this industry, in the mortgage industry before the crash. So I had no training. I was literally shipping and closing loans in the mortgage industry, and I one day got bumped up to being a wholesaler, going out and trying to find loan officers. In the very same setting, a wholesaler represents the record-keeping platform or company and comes to you as the advisor. So the trap number 1, don't just sell or push the product from the wholesaler that bought you lunch the day before. Like that happens so often. It's like this person comes in and they're doing a great job. They've got all the right sales things to come across about their product and they want to be in front of you. So the next day you have an opportunity, you throw their way, right? And hopefully you didn't just tell the new prospect or the client, hey, we're going to move everybody we're gonna go here just after one day of meeting this salesperson, because you've got to dig deeper. You've got to ask the right questions. Here are my questions that I would just give to you as good due diligence questions, and you can create a formal way of doing this. I'm not that kind of guy. I waste too much time sometimes on Canva creating stuff like that. Maybe I'll make one like that for you one day. But right now, here's my main questions. You want to ask the record keeper, who's your custodian? Okay, where's the money going? How are you connected with this custodian? And what platform or what software do you actually use to record keep? You're going to get this answer. You're going to get the answer, oh, it's proprietary. It's ours. Dig deeper, because I really highly doubt that that's actual case, because most likely it's one of those four: Schwab, DST, Relias, and I'm forgetting one. Who am I forgetting? I'll come up with it. There's one other big one: Schwab, DST, Relias, and boy, I can't think of that one. That's gonna drive me nuts. Okay, I'll find it. There are, however, some newer ones that are coming up. So watch the technology, and we'll get to that in a second. But find out what their system is. Quick story. I know you like stories. I was a young 401k advisor working on a pretty big plan. I think it was like $5 or $6 million. I went in, and here's key. I'd figured out I got to listen first. So I got to that point. I started listening to my client, and I brought in a few record keepers. What was interesting is I brought in two. I think it was Mass Mutual and TD Ameritrade. TD's gotten out of the business, but those two, their system or their demo site was identical. There were different colors, but the user and end user participant experience was identical. I went to both of them and I said, all right, somebody's not telling me the truth here. What's going on? Why am I seeing the exact same software here as over here? And neither of them would tell me. I had to kind of just finagle and figure out my own way. And once I figured out that I had to log into DST to get to the advisor portal of the record keeping software, I realized they're both just third-party software to DST. That's fine. It's not custom. It's not proprietary. It's not the worst thing in the world, but you're not really, what are you paying for if everybody has the same experience? So know what to ask. Another question to ask is, how much support am I really going to get from you as a wholesaler? Now, I know that seems selfish, but if this wholesaler is only going to help you if you start sending him business like every single prospect, and he's only going to help you if you're winning with him, I don't know that I would go too much further, because that's pretty selfish, and you're going to need help, and they're not going to win all of them. And it's okay to add them. It's fine. And let them know that you're including them. But I don't want you to turn the reins over to these wholesalers to try and do your finalist meeting. I don't know why that happens. That shouldn't even be going on unless you're in the massive enterprise level $1 billion plan, right? If you're in the $10 to $20 million plan, that needs to be you in that meeting, and they need to listen to your recommendation. There's no need to waste everyone's time to do these long 3 hours of finalist meetings with all the wholesalers coming in and trying to do their flashy show. Screw that. Like, put yourself in your client's shoes. Do they really want to sit through half a day of listening to sales pitches? No, they hired you. You do that before you get there, and they hire you, and you recommend who's best by doing your due diligence. Okay, that's a rant. Sorry. Number 2. All right. Don't determine which record keepers you use just to keep your life simple. I know it sounds like a good move to scale your business by only working with one record keeper. You're going to really limit yourself. If you build your business on the back of one platform, one whole system, let's say it's a payroll system, for example, and they're just feeding you business, you think, this is awesome, I'm going to keep doing this. That might be good for a little bit. But what if the next year or next month they change the game and they stop sending you those? Or they go on a path of pushing advisors out because now they've automated everything that you do. They've taken over 338. They've taken over education. They don't see no need for including you, and they go right against and start attacking and competing with you. Don't build your business on one platform, because it can come back to bite you and really hurt your business in the future. Okay? The better thing to do is to understand and have a short list of record keepers that you've actually support, that answer all the right questions, that that maybe work well with the different TPAs that you work with. Depending on your niche, you're going to need different solutions for different goals or objectives of the plan sponsor. Real life example. For medical groups, we work with 2 record keepers. We work with Vanguard and we work with Voya. Now, Vanguard is kind of working with the census and they do all the work, but it's Vanguard branded and there's some benefits there. And we also work with Voya. And let me tell you the reason behind those 2 decisions. And they may change. They may change tomorrow. That's the key. We'll get to that. The reason is Vanguard prices per head. So for a medical group who isn't necessarily going to grow by people and is just going to continually fully fund their 401ks, I almost said HSA, I don't know why, 401ks every year, and the assets grow, why would you want to have an asset-based fee for that client? It makes no sense. That's not a good advisor. That's not good advice. So Vanguard works awesome in that scenario. However, let's say you wrap in the cash balance plan. Let's say you've got some really kind of tough organizational structure. You need a TPA working kind of and get a little bit more expertise on a local level that can come in and help them really maximize the tax efficiency. That's when we work with Voya. And the reason is Voya works really well and has a great, what we call, it's marketing basically, where they pay TPAs a certain portion of the revenue to offset the fees. Now make sure your TPAs are passing that through to your client, and we'll do a whole show just about that whole scenario. But in those cases, we actually come out ahead. Even if we're at a flathead, we come out ahead on the Voya unbundled TPA platform. Now, that we use other ones as well. We're not solely on those 2, but those are our 2 main ones in the last year and a half. Which brings me to number 3, the final trap. Due diligence never ends. Like, it's never over. I'm always taking meetings. I'm always willing to listen. If a wholesaler reaches out to me and says, hey, I want to tell you what we're doing differently, I invite them to my office. So now it's a Zoom meeting, but I would always have my door open. And that includes not only record keeping, that includes TPAs, and that includes investment, what we call DCIO, or defined contribution investment only mutual fund companies. Even if I've already determined my 338 is this lineup, I have an open door policy when it comes to due diligence, because everything has to evolve. Everything has to evolve. And so who is going to evolve the best and the most and do the greatest thing for my client tomorrow? I don't know yet. And so my job as an advisor, why I should get paid a certain amount, is to continually keep up on all of this due diligence, ongoing, never ending. It just goes on and on forever. So those are my 3 things. Quick review. So the wholesaler that bought you lunch yesterday should not be the one you're introducing tomorrow. Take your time, ask the questions, mess around with the site, make sure you understand their software, make sure you understand the experience, their back office, a lot of details there. Number 2, don't just pick one. You've got to have multiple solutions, and you've got to understand that even if the client you're taking over has a record keeper that you don't like and that you've decided not to work a lot with, you still have to be able to take over their plan and transfer it over. So step by step, keep an open door there. And then 3, it never ends. You're going to be doing due diligence forever. So if you hate due diligence, being a 401k specialist is probably not your gig, because I would say it's a major part of my job and a major part of the value I bring, the reason I should get paid what I get paid, to do this so that the key decision makers in my clients' companies don't have to waste half their day going through all this due diligence on their own again and again and again. You do it for them. They hired you to do that. They hired you as the expert. Don't hand that over to the wholesalers. You do it. All right. That is what I wanted to share today. I think it's really useful because it's something that I've continually worked on and progressed with and tried to do more and more. And in the end, what it comes down to is don't be afraid to stand behind what you believe is best for that client and tell them straight up, this is why I would go with here. Here's the pros and cons. Even with that con, I would still go there and stick with it. And if the client decides to go somewhere else because You backed up your decision-making process that was backed by really thoughtful and intuitive industry knowledge that they don't have. Live with that and die on your own sword, as Gary Vee would say. That's key. That's my recommendation. If they choose to go somewhere else because somebody else told them something just to win their business, you'll be better off in the end if you stick with what you believe and what you know is best for them, and just trust that decision process that you followed. All right, I hope everyone has a great Monday. Stay safe out there, and I will continue to bring these. I'm trying to shoot for every other day doing live YouTubes. I'm just testing the cadence here. I'm answering questions on Facebook. I'm doing things on all the other social channels, but I'm filling my night up with getting my program launched, which is 12 steps. I've got a few beta testers in there right now. It's going really well. We're digging into some serious, exciting things as we've determined their niche. So that's the step one, determine your niche. Don't just be the 401k advisor for everybody, because then you're the advisor for nobody. All right, I'll shut up. Have a wonderful Monday. Thanks for coming around, and subscribe if you haven't. Take care.